I just watched the Stranger Things season 5 finale and it was actually pretty good. Yeah, see, I'm fair. People said my last video was mean, but like, no, it wasn't. Like Alex Meyer's review actually had direct insults to the cast members, and I didn't do that at all, so like, whatever. I like how 70% of my predictions were correct. 11 didn't die, Vecna didn't get redeemed. Well, he almost did, but, whatever. 11 got to go to that waterfall too, so, the only thing I got wrong was the Hopper making breakfast for Elle part, and honestly, thank you. That scene would have been horrible. Oh, and I thought, she would end up with Mike, but I'm kind of glad she didn't. If Byler fans don't get to be happy, neither do 11 fans. And honestly, 11 did not have the mental or emotional capacity to really consent to a romantic relationship with anyone, realistically. And her moving to a new location and having a fresh start is probably just better for her. So, and she still has her powers, so it's not going to be like an Angela situation again, so... Anyway, the ending's in 2 parts, the final battle and the epilogue. I can't believe it was 2 hours and 8 minutes. Like, my stream crashed, and I was so worried that I was going to miss the New Year's countdown, so that was a fun adventure in and of itself. It's nice to see the characters aggressively come for Vecna. Like, they aren't running, they aren't being stalked, they aren't trying to survive, they are attacking. It is a rescue mission, and it is nice for the characters to finally get some power back. Man, that first part was so freaking good. It was so freaking good, man. Holly was pretty brave. It was such a 180 from her cowardly way she was before. But, great development. And, Max coming back for her was really nice. Collie's invisibility power was awesome, too. The best part, hands down, is when Vecna started playing mind games with Hopper. And Hopper thinks he shot 11. 10 out of 10. And then she's taken out of that mind tank. And Max is like, Holly, get to the chopper. Yeah, like, I ended up watching Terminator in the meantime. Well, technically that was Predator, but who cares? I don't like all the Derek fat jokes, though. Like really, we're really doing that, like, in a show about outcasts and misfits. Like, that is a real child. And I'm not saying that because I'm fat or anything. I'm actually 149 pounds, which is kind of crap for a guy, but, like, whatever. If I were a bodybuilder, I wouldn't be making YouTube videos anyway. Well, I would be a bodybuilder, but whatever. This show is so good at climaxes because, the cum room, but I'm kidding. But, because they do that Marvel thing where everyone gets to contribute and have each other's backs. I rewatched it again on double speed, and man, it makes everything 10 times more awesome. There's not really much to talk about, though, about, like, the actual finale. Like, I'm glad they got Steve's fake-out death over with quickly because, honestly, everyone has just been waiting for that, and I'm glad they got it out of the way. Like, Jonathan saved Steve's life. So it ends the rivalry, and they talk afterwards. So that's a narrative bow on their little love triangle fight with Nancy. And, like, finally. And Nancy's line, I guess I'm bait, or something like that, was really heroic. She was pretty cool there, pretty awesome. I like how they made a joke about her becoming a Navy SEAL, which she should have done, honestly. That would have been a much more interesting path if she just said, you know what, screw journalism, I'm going to be a Navy SEAL. That would have been so awesome and kind of interesting. So everything I've complained about kind of got resolved. So one funny part is when Hopper picks up 11 and just kind of ditches Callie. And also, why the hell did Callie, like, pull a gun on Hopper? And why did 11 let her do that? So the writing can still be stupid, but, whatever. The final fight with that kaiju was awesome, like pure Shadow of the Colossus. And I'm so glad they didn't redeem Vecna. Thank you. If they did, the story would have been in, like, an instant 1 out of 10 for me, and I would have disowned the entire franchise. But I'm so glad they didn't do that. Thank you. The boss, the giant boss, like, thing kind of felt like a video game, like, boss. And, like, the characters are real humans, so it's not like they couldn't really do anything super interesting with that fight. But, it also ties into, like, the plot armor thing because, like, seriously, one military tank could probably take that thing out, And if, like, 10 people, I'm too lazy to recount them, but if, like, 10 people can throw, like, Molotov cocktails and shoot pistols at it and get it to, like, stop, then, how does the military keep failing in these situations? It's kind of weird. And Dr. K survives, and it's just, like, she just never appears again. That's just never brought up again. Did the characters go to jail after everything? Like, Nancy did kill, like, 3 U.S. soldiers. Like, I feel like I'm missing something. Like, there was a part that we just missed, but, oh well, whatever. So yeah, 11 sacrifices herself for basically no reason, and people actually fell for it. Like, I knew she would come back to life somehow. Like, I literally put it in my video before. Like, if you just watch my prior video that I made before this one, like, I literally say she's not going to die. Anyway, I already predicted it, and, most of these Marvel-type movies tell the same story over and over again anyway, so I'm not shocked or anything. The only thing I was shocked about is that there were no quips. Like, I was really waiting for Will to go, like, so that just happened. But, nothing like that. They actually took a scene seriously. Wow. If you watch, if you watch my last video, like, I kind of went off on the people who thought 11 was going to die because, it wouldn't have made a lot of narrative sense, killing off an abused person who sacrificed themselves to save everyone. Like, the Jesus metaphor is a bit too on the nose, but, I like it anyway. I actually like the final goodbye scene with Mike and 11, where she, like, freezes time to talk to him. Like, I can't remember where I saw another thing like, oh, Twilight Princess. Yeah, the scene where Link and Zelda do like their little handshake and he gets like the arrows of light or whatever. But well, that scene's a callback to Ocarina of Time where they were in the sky doing that scene too. So very nice, very nice. I'm sure there are other scenes like that in other movies, but that's just where I know that scene from. Then we get our epilogue, which is 18 months later, and for those of you who were too lazy to count, that's June 1989. So the 80s are done, and the 80s revival that's been going on in real life is kind of over anyway. Like the 30-year cycle passed by, so now everyone's really into the 90s. And I like the clothing, like the transition from the 80s to the 90s. Like this is the stuff I used to see my parents wear in old photos. So the outfits were like really good here, and seeing them wearing this stuff on modern film makes you really appreciate and notice why these clothes were popular. Anyway, Robin is doing something now. Is she still dating Vicky? Like, did she go to jail for those benzos? Like, my theory is that Vicky took the fall for her and is serving 12 years due to Reagan's war on drugs campaign. So that's going to be their Scooby-Doo spin-off. Like, an angry Vicky is going to be like the monster that they have to catch. They're going to go visit Robin's weird uncle at his place, and the place is going to be haunted, and it's going to turn out to just be Vicky in a costume. Realistically, Hawkins would have ended up a ghost town, but everyone's back now for some reason. People just believe the town's no longer cursed. And, I like that it ends exactly like Riverdale, where every character just gets their fates revealed by the narrator in this, like, weird literary style. So, obviously, like, Riverdale didn't invent epilogues, but this show really feels similar to that finale. This one's much better, though, because, they're all still alive. So, like, Mike does it in, like, this really nice literary present tense, and it's actually some nice dialogue with, like, fun stand-in parallels for Dungeons and Dragons in the real world. So, Lucas and Max finally get to go to that movie. I don't know what movie they went to go see. I think it was, like, The Last Crusade. Imagine if they went to see Heathers. That would have been a cute Winona reference. And also, Max is completely healed now. Like, she broke several bones and almost had her eyes gouged out. Did they retcon her injury? Who cares? She looks hot, so it doesn't matter. And Will has a boyfriend. It's during the AIDS crisis, and they just never address that. You'd think a naive, traumatized, small-town, Midwestern gay guy in New York would just end up in escort on 42nd Street, but nope. He's totally fine and is dating a guy that looks just like the bully that beat up Dustin. It's not him, but it looked like him. And also, why was that bully at the graduation? Like, why did the writers remember to add that asshole and didn't even remember to add or mention, like, Susie or Vicky or Argyle or the Turnbows? What even happened to them? Like, no public disaster happened in Hawkins either to distract from anything, so no cover for the crimes committed this season. Did Dr. K, like, interrogate them either? Honestly, who cares? They didn't even remember Will's birthday. Steve's a sports coach. That works. I never cared that much about Steve. I don't really like those all-around nice guys. Everyone was making a big deal about Markiplier. Like, I like him. I like them both a lot, but I'm just not that kind of normie. Like, sorry. I love Steve and Robin, though, and, I love that they have no personal connection to any of this. They really were just down to help once they learned all this crap was going on. And also, once again, no one's traumatized by anything. Everyone's just living normal lives now. Like, I get they're stronger now and learned a bunch of stuff, but, like, that they really experienced a lot, like multiple massacres. Like, I don't think that just goes away. Anyway, Hopper and Joyce moved to Montauk, and, like, I get the reference, but, Long Island. Come on. The ending was such a cop-out. They're like, 11 maybe survived? And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. They're doing Schrödinger's 11? Like, you're kidding. 11 is simultaneously alive and not alive? You just have to believe whichever one you want. So what, now it's a religion? Do you believe in 11's sacrifice? Like what? I love the ending where they were like, I believe. I literally kept thinking of that, like, Pokemon Master Quest theme song. I believe I've got a chance to win. And, like, oh my gosh. And does Hopper know she's alive? They did a weird distancing of their relationship this season for some reason. And I'm realizing it was probably to prepare for this, so Hopper wouldn't be super devastated and could probably move on. But still just really weird. I believe. The gang have, like, one last D&D session, including Max. Max used to make fun of them for this, but, she's the most chaotic and emotionally invested, and I love it. Their behavior feels so natural, and they're all slightly, like, they all kind of slightly step over their boundaries in, like, a very loving way, and I kind of like that. It's very realistic dialogue. And then Holly and her friends in Generation Xerox come down into the basement, and, like, what the hell? Holly, you're still friends with these assholes? Oh, well, whatever. They're probably the only kids in town, and I guess forgiveness is best. So I saw some guy on Twitter say, they're setting up a spinoff, and, like, no, they aren't. They're just showing that it continues on. I feel like I have to explain narrative to everybody, but, like, of course, that 11 didn't actually die. People are calling this a happy ending, despite the fact that almost 800 people died over the course of the show, but, yeah, happy, but for some people. So for anyone that doesn't understand, like, everyone kind of reached their happy and most logical conclusion to their narratives and arcs. So, like, with only some slight variation in character romantic relationship statuses, but honestly, only the most tumultuous relationships ended. Like, breaking up Nancy and Jonathan was okay-ish, but, like, since they work so well in real life, it kind of just hurt. Because, like, the way Jonathan smiles at her and, like, the actor smiles at her in real life is just so, like, real. And to just see these characters just say, oh, we're just friends now, and, like, smile like that really just makes me just think that's just weird. Anyway, I like how formal all the 20-somethings dress now. Like, I get they're adults now, and, like, back then, like, adulting started much earlier. And I can't remember the last time I wore a suit, so all in all, the ending was good, and I never want to hear the word Stranger Things again. But, you know, I think this whole final finale totally redeemed the show, and I think Kali's character was redeemed definitely for saving Eleven. But, like, I feel like everything was just redeemed. So, big theme, redemption. What a great finale. And I was wrong about the song. I thought they were going to do Don't Stop by Fleetwood Mac, but it was Landslide, so I was close. I was very close. It was not Don't Stop, it was Landslide, but oh well. Either way, it was great. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. And now I kind of feel bad for making that really mean review the last time, but it wasn't that bad, because once again, I didn't insult any actors or anything. So overall, it was great, and, you know, definitely watch it. Check it out. It was fantastic. I loved it. Totally redeemed the show for me, so